Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into this really ancient guide that tackles a super modern problem. How do we master our senses and just find some calm in this totally chaotic world we live in?
Think about it for a second. Are you in control or are your senses running the show? It sounds simple, right? But the answer, well, that's way more complex. We're just constantly bombarded by sights and sounds and feelings, all pulling us in a million different directions. So we're going to explore a text that tackles this whole thing head-on, and it offers a pretty surprising way out of all that sensory overload.
So the story kicks off with a really simple but deep question. The Buddha runs into this young student, his name is Uttara, and he asks him, hey, how does your teacher, this Brahmin named Parasiri, how does he teach you to train your senses? And in the text, they call them the faculties.
And right there, that's not just some casual chat. Nope. This question totally sets the stage for this big debate about how we're supposed to engage with the world around us. Should we just shut it all out? Or is there maybe a better way?
So Uttara, he's pretty proud, and he explains his teacher's method. And it's basically sensory deprivation. The idea is, hey, if you don't want the world to bother you, just block it out. Simple. Don't look, don't listen. And, on the surface, that sounds kind of logical, right? It's like a brute force solution to the whole problem of distraction.
And this right here sets up the core conflict of the whole text. It's this idea of avoidance versus awareness. On one side, you've got the idea of just, building walls to protect yourself. But on the other, there's a method that's all about actually engaging with the world.
Okay, so the Buddha's response is, it's just so simple and direct, but man, it completely dismantles this whole idea. He basically says, well, if mastery is just not seeing or not hearing, then wouldn't a blind person and a deaf person be the greatest masters of all? Wow, it's such a brilliant piece of logic, and it just instantly exposes the huge flaw in that whole avoidance strategy.
And as you can probably guess, this just leaves poor Uttara completely speechless. The text actually says he was abashed, his shoulders slumped, his head down, brooding. His whole worldview just got shattered in one sentence. And it's this silence, right, that creates the perfect opening for a new, much deeper teaching to come through.
All right, so if just shutting our senses out isn't the answer, then what is? This is where we get to the real core of the teaching. It's what the Buddha calls the unexcelled development of the faculties.
And the Buddha makes it super clear that his method is, well, it's something else entirely. It's not about running away from the world, no. It's about learning how to skillfully navigate all those inner reactions that the world triggers inside of us.
And this right here, this is the heart of it. It's a total game changer, and it's basically a four-step process. First, a sensation pops up. You like something, you dislike it, or maybe it's a mix of both. Step 2, you see that reaction for what it is. The text calls it compounded gross, which really just means it's temporary and not a deep part of who you are. It's just a fleeting thing. Third, you recognize there's a deeper state available, a state of calm balance, equanimity, which is described as peaceful, exquisite. And finally, just by shifting your attention to that calm state, that first knee-jerk reaction, it just ceases, it fades away, and equanimity takes its place.
And get this mental shift can happen incredibly fast. The text uses these awesome, vivid similes to show just how fast. For sight, it's as quick as you can blink your eyes. For sound, as easy as snapping your fingers. A thought, it vanishes as fast as a drop of water on a hot iron pan. Sizzle, gone. So we're not talking about some long, drawn-out process here. This is an immediate, in-the-moment shift in your awareness.
Okay, so how do you even start this journey? Nobody starts out as a master, right? There's a whole training period, and where it begins is, well, it's really distinct and honestly a little surprising.
The starting point is actually a kind of healthy disgust. Yeah. A person in training starts to see how they're constantly just being jerked around by their own likes and dislikes. And they start to feel, in the words of the text, horrified, humiliated, and disgusted by it. It's that feeling of being a puppet on a string to your own reactions. That's what really fuels the desire for freedom and gets you started on the path.
So where does this whole path of feeling kind of horrified by your own reactions, where does it actually lead? Well, it leads to a state of complete mastery. And let me tell you, it looks very different from the struggle you see in the trainee.
The transformation is just profound. Look at the difference. The trainee is basically a victim of their feelings, right? They're disgusted by their own lack of control. But the master, they remain calm, alert, mindful. They're not a victim anymore. Instead, they've gained this incredible power to change their perception of reality whenever they want.
And the foundation for all of this mastery is that word again, equanimity. And let's be clear, this isn't about feeling nothing. Not at all. It's this deep sense of inner balance and composure that lets you face anything, good, bad, whatever, without getting thrown off center. You literally become the calm in the eye of the storm.
And this right here is the absolute pinnacle of the teaching. This is true inner freedom. A master has so much control over their own perception that they can actually choose to see something beautiful as unappealing or something that's not as beautiful. Think about that. Their inner state is no longer a slave to what's happening on the outside.
So, the key takeaway here is so important. This whole path is not about becoming some kind of unfeeling robot. It's the exact opposite. It's about feeling everything, but you stop being controlled by those feelings. It is the ultimate mastery of your own inner world.
And the teaching ends not with some complex philosophical idea, but with a really direct and powerful call to action. The Buddha basically says, look, over there, the roots of trees, go practice. Don't be heedless. Don't fall into regret later. This is our message to you. I mean, how timeless is that advice? He's saying, I've given you the map. Now you have to walk the path.
And that's where we're going to leave it for today. The text really leaves us with this one last big question to think about. What would change in your life, if you could meet any and every sensation with true equanimity? If you aren't constantly being pushed and pulled around, what would become possible? It's a pretty powerful thought to carry with you.